And in consultancy, there's a thing called issue tree. And what exactly is issue tree? Consultants mostly call it MEES, mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. And what is issue tree? Issue tree is when you get a big question, then you divide it into a lot of branches. So it became a tree. So let's say here's a tree. Here's your question. Then you divide it into various branches. You list all the possible questions you get from the tree and what you think of it. And there's this MEES tree is almost impossible to be perfect. And you might ask, why is it impossible to be perfect? There's always a high risk that maybe you duplicate. You don't never know. What is exactly a high risk? For example, you narrow a big question. Let's say a bakery is decreasing on sales. After you narrow it, decreasing sales, you might write every possible question. So might write like lowering demand on consumer lowering demand. Or maybe you can write inflation and all sort of things from this exact thing. And there's always a question when you miss the real solution. Like maybe after you wrote 10 questions, there's a decision that you never thought of, but it's actually the real decision. That's why it hides risks. And as said also before, duplicated branch. What I mean is duplicated branch, you do two works from two different branches, even though their answer is completely the same. Like lowering consumer and inflation. They both get basically the same. What is inflation? Inflation is when everything gets more expensive. And what's lowering consumer? Maybe it can be the consumer have lower buying power. So it's basically the same. Weakening currency and weakening buying power. It's completely the same. But that's why I said before it duplicated the work we have done. And after after consulting getting all of the pieces, they prioritize what decision can affect the most, not the branch that have most data. Because consultant work is finding the solution that nobody has to think of. Because if we take the data, if we take the decision with the most data, people can guess that. Like, what's the point of renting a consultant if you can solve it yourself? The data is there and it's very visible. The consultant job is finding the nearly unseen. The consultant job is finding the unseen decision that never everyone has to think of. That's why consultant is needed. It's not for the visible solution, but we think the unseen decision that might affect the company's future.